So welcome to this talk about making the Magento 2 JavaScript loading great again. JavaScript is mostly front-end, but I will promise this is also going to be slightly interesting for those doing only back-end, because this stuff also needs to be deployed. And it also requires changes in build process, so it also is going to be slightly interesting for back-enders as well. Still need my clicker, otherwise it's going to be one solo slide. So we're going to talk about things like JavaScript, about RequireJS, about bundling, merging, minifying, the optimizer, and also something called the baller in the end. Who am I? A picture of me. I'm Robin. I work as Magento Technical Architect. I am on Twitter, but I'm only listening. I'm never speaking, so no point to follow me there. If you have any questions, my email is also here. I'm 3 times Magento certified. I have associate developer, professional developer, and the only one in the Netherlands with professional developer plus. So guest star in that. For almost 1 year now, so probably a hard one. So if we go to JavaScript issues and loading of JavaScript, first we need to go back to Magento 1. In Magento 1 we had some issues with JavaScript. I think everybody is familiar with the JavaScript issues we had there. But the first of all is loading JavaScript libraries. It came with the wonderful thing called prototype, which everybody really loved, and everybody tried to install jQuery. Then if you install extension, so for instance you install extension from MST, it also comes with jQuery, and now magically you have 2 times jQuery. Click, next one. Here it is. And what's going to happen if you install maybe jQuery 1.9 and also extension comes with 1.10, you're going to have multiple versions of jQuery. And there's problematic sorting orders. So for instance, you want to load the jQuery plugin and it loaded, and then you install extension and it also loads jQuery and your plugin is gone again. So with all of these issues, we were thinking, okay, how can we solve this in Magento 2? We talked to the community. I think I need to be closer in range for the clicker. And behold, Magento 2 came with the wonderful thing called RequireJS. Can I see some hands who really likes RequireJS? Okay, few people. Who really hates RequireJS? More people? So yeah, we have to kind of deal with RequireJS. Because on one hand, it's a really useful tool, but on the other hand, it's also giving us lots of headaches and lots of issues. And the biggest issue we have with RequireJS is the waterfall. So in normal RequireJS, if you read really the RequireJS documentation, it says you need to do something to enable RequireJS in production mode. Well, we never done this in Magento. And because of this, we have an issue called the waterfall. And what is the waterfall issue? If we look at the following code, there's probably a pointer here as well. We have mymodule.js. And we are defining this, and we are saying we are also requiring dependency A, and we are requiring dependency B. And then in the end, the module is going to return anything. But before the module is going to return anything, first it will load dependency A, and then it will load dependency B from the network, and then it starts executing all the code here. And if you're going to do that a lot of times, you're going to have a really big waterfall. And this can even go further. So maybe you have your mymodule.js, you have module A, and module A requires B and C, and B requires also D, C requires E, and then they do not require anything. How will the loading of this look? It will look like this in the network. First you get module A loaded in the network, it's getting parsed on the mobile device, or on the desktop device. Then module B and C will be loaded on the network, and after that module D and E will be loaded. And the device was really thinking, okay, first we need to load this one. The device needs to think again about other modules needed to be loaded. And then your device needs to think again. And if we look in Magento, and we look at Magento 2 homepage, in the network tab, and we really zoom out, this is where RequireJS is getting loaded. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times other dependencies get loaded. And we have a really fast website, we have a really fast cache, but our customer is still complaining my website is slow. And it's mostly because of this here. And it's going to be really slow on really low-end devices. And it might be fast on a device that parses JavaScript really quickly and has a high connection. But if you have a bit slower connection, it's going to be a lot slower. So, Magento bundling to the rescue, right? Who here has these things enabled in production? Can I see some hands who has this in production, merging or bundling of JavaScript? Probably some guys, right? Yeah. Okay. It stopped. Oh, there it is. Not really. So, while this does really seem to be a good idea, it can actually make it worse. And the reason it can make it worse is because of dead code. So what happened on the Magento 2 homepage, if you have bundled disabled, you will have a total JavaScript size of 1.5 megabytes uncompressed. With gzip compression, it will end up for the user in 495 kilobytes. And if you have bundling enabled, it looks on your machine, or maybe looks if you have a really fast connection, that everything is a lot faster. But the total file size went up to 7.6 megabyte uncompressed and 2.1 megabyte compressed. And what will this do for our user? So this is a video, and I'm going to start it in a bit. And this is for users on the 3G network. This user is searching for my awesome product in the store. And the user is Googling for awesome product on Google. And the user found the awesome product on Google. And the user is maybe in the subway. The user has maybe like a 200 euro or phone, cheap device, and has never visited the website before. And this is what's happening. So, if you have enabled stock bundling, you made it actually slower. And this is because of the extra loading, because of the file got bigger. What did we see? This one was really quick, but then it took a while before the JavaScript was loaded. This one, it took a really long while before everything was downloaded, but once everything was downloaded, it was loaded a bit faster. But in the end, this is not the best idea. And we came to that conclusion, and we came with something called advanced bundling. Has anybody tried here this in the development documentation, advanced bundling? Has anybody succeed within 1 week or 2 weeks? Yes. I did not think so. This is quite some hard stuff. And while it seems easy if you scroll through the documentation, it's quite hard. And it's quite hard to maintain. So, about 1 year ago, my colleague Andrew came with a present, like an early Christmas present. And this Christmas present was called the Magento-Dev Tools. And basically it serves one purpose, and it's doing the advanced bundling, but then much easier. The Magento-Dev Tools is like a Chrome extension that you install into Google Chrome. And then you open the inspector and you get something else here. If you're on the Magento side, it says Magento 2. Then gives you a nice welcome. And there is 3 panes here. There is home, store info, RequireJS, and UI components. Basically, the only thing that works here is RequireJS. The other things are like 1 year coming soon, so I don't think it's coming that soon. But if we go to the RequireJS pane, it will look like this. And it's like kind of similar like the network tab. There is a big record button here, or maybe small one. And it gives some information. It says click the record button, then begin navigating to critical pages of your store. When you're done, click the record button again. So we've done that, and we start navigating. And what this is going to do, it's going to create blocks for each of the page you're navigating through on your browser. And we see here a module count. It's a bit hard to read on this projector, but it says module count. And when you load the page and you open this page, it's gonna see all the RequireJS files that are loaded, and then it's gonna store them in a list. And then you go to your category page, you go to your product view page, you go to your cart page, you go to the checkout, and for all those pages, it's gonna store all the JavaScript files it sees loaded. And then if you're gonna stop, it's gonna check which of the JavaScript files are similar on all pages, and which of the JavaScript files are not similar on all pages. So maybe there's JavaScript files that are only for product page, there's JavaScript files that are only for checkout, there's JavaScript files that are only for category page, and these will all be separated. So you're going to create a really different bundle structure compared to the stock bundle, where the stock bundle would put everything in one single file. This is going to separate it, and it's also going to make one single file that is the same for all pages, but it's also going to separate it for different pages. So, if I do this in slides, it seems that everything works fine. Click. But I will also give you like a live demonstration on how this works, so that you actually see how this works, and maybe can do this maybe tonight or tomorrow actually on a test job. Bear with me, live demonstrations of Magento. Not always the best plan, but we'll still try to do it. So here we are on a regular Magento Luma site. This is Magento Commerce with the sample data installed. If we're going to inspect this, we'll see that roughly 180 JavaScript files will be loaded, 176. And we have the Magento 2 tab here. Sorry for that. And we'll click the record button here. And we'll see we have a module count of 182. This is more than the actual JavaScript, because this is also some HTML files from Knockout. Then we need to navigate through the pages. Let's go to a category page. And we'll see here that the new block is going to appear, catalog category view. We'll go to our product page. A similar one is appearing. We'll add the product to cart. I'll have to cough again. And we add to cart speaker. Okay. Not okay. Okay. Test. Failed. So during the live demo, the microphone broke. Oh, it's back. The product is added to cart, and we'll go to our cart. Again, another block appeared. It's checkout cart index, and we'll proceed to checkout as well. And you will see probably that checkout index is going to appear multiple times, but that's not an issue. It will just merge it in the end. What you want to do here is you want to finish all the steps. Because if you do not finish all the steps, some of the required JavaScript files are not loaded. So now we actually have like 3 times checkout cart index, or checkout index, but this one has the most files. Okay, so this is finished. And we'll click stop. Now it's going to give us instructions. And it says first install the Magento bundle config module. So I have an installation prepared where this module is installed. You require this module to actually load the bundles. And there's a link where you can find the module. You have to set the store to production mode. I have already done that on a demonstration store. And then it says backup static content source. So for the team that you're bundling, move each language folder to a folder of the same name, append with _source. For example, if you're bundling Luma in English, which you are doing, move frontend Magento Luma English US to English US _source. So I've prepared that, it should be here. So we are moving that one. Then it says you must have Node.js installed. I have that. And run npm install -g RequireJS. This takes some time, so I already did that one. And then save the generated bundle config. And what is this bundle config? It is basically to the left here. And it's a really big, long file of all the JavaScript that is being loaded on all the pages. And it's also deferring here, so this is the bundle for checkout index. On top is the bundle for bundle shared. And really in the bottom there's a really nice copy to clipboard function. And it tells us to save it in a file called build.js. So we'll go back to our Magento site and we save it in build.javascript. Copied somebody else probably. Let's try again. And there it is. And then in top of this file, is it a bit clear? Yeah. In top of the file, there's when it's generated, and there's one line set optimized to none to speed up bundling while debugging. So this is how the minification is going to be done of all the JavaScript. And if we set this to uglify, my laptop is gonna give all sorts of smoke, and it's gonna take 15 minutes. So we'll set this to none to speed it up a bit. We'll save the file. And next step in the tutorial. We're gonna run this command. We are gonna start with r.js, which is the RequireJS optimizer, which you actually need to start to have this in production mode. -o. Then we're gonna select the build.js file we just created. Our base URL is the source, and our directory is gonna be this one. We're gonna copy this, the whole line, and we're gonna paste. And we're gonna fingers crossed that it works. And it's finished. So if you have this to optimize none, it will finish in seconds. If you have this to with uglify, it will take like 10-15 minutes because it needs to uglify all the JavaScript files. How will this look? Here we have our Luma site. Remember, here we had 176 JavaScript requests. We had to flush full page cache first because our bundle was not picked up. Still we have 176. Let's flush the cache. And now it's starting without cache, so this on some laptops gives you some time to get some coffee. Now instead of the 176 JavaScript requests, we end up with just 6 JavaScript requests on the homepage. We see that a new file appeared, shared.js, which is our bundle of all the files. It's not minified to this one. So it's, if you minify this, this will go to like 400 kilobytes on Luma, but here it's 555. If we were to go to a category page now, we have one extra JavaScript file, and it's the catalog category view file, which is the bundle with only the files for the catalog category view. I'll go to product page. And we have the JavaScript for only the product page and the shared one, which is similar for all pages. Adding this to cart. And we can imagine what's going to happen. The checkout cart index.js file is here. And if we're going to continue to the checkout, we'll have a really nice bundle for the checkout as well, and the checkout should be loaded a lot faster. Something failed on reCAPTCHA. Not sure. Oh, this is because I don't have internet. It's trying to load this from google.com. Some API request for reCAPTCHA extension. So, back to our presentation. We have 2 minutes? Cool. Okay. There can be one issue that I want to, in the last 2 minutes, I want to give you guys. It's cannot read property section load of undefined. So what is this? If you are going to try this on anything other than Magento 2.3.3, you're going to get this issue. And what does this issue mean? This is to do with something called the race condition. Because we have now really fast bundle and really fast JavaScript loading, somewhere in the body of the page, section load URL is defined through xmh init. And now the order changed. Now it's loaded much faster. The JavaScript is being executed much faster. And this section load URL is not defined yet. This is fixed in Magento 2.3.3. But if you have anything earlier than 2.3.3, you can do two things. Either you can patch the core from the latest 2.3 version. Do not need to upgrade the whole Magento, only the part about the JavaScript. Or you can choose to exclude totals and minicart. Those are the two JavaScript files with issues. You can choose to exclude them from the bundling process. So in this really big JSON file, you can just remove those two files, and then those two files will be loaded the old school way. So you do not have 100% of optimization, but maybe 98% of optimization. One other thing to keep in mind, ES6, Uglify 2 is not compatible with that one yet. So it cannot minify EMAScript 6 JavaScript. You'll see the errors, and you have to just convert it back to ES5. And if you have syntax errors, because now everything is one really big file, what can happen is the whole file breaks. So any syntax errors should be fixed before bundling. Also, sometimes Uglify breaks during minification process if you have custom JavaScript, and then your whole bundle file is not minified. So if you start the build, you really have to look into the log there, that if you have any error on minification, probably your whole file is not minified. So you have to check which error you have, and then you have to fix the error in the JavaScript. So we'll end it here then after this slide. There are some pros of doing this. It's quite simple. There's loading speed increase. There's also some cons. If you do not do this from the start of your project, you can have some work. Like I said before, if you have some JavaScript errors, they might not have been a big deal before, but now if you're going to bundle, these things are going to become a big deal. And changes to the JavaScript might require a new optimizer file. What this means is we generated this build.js file. If you are going to remove a JavaScript file, so you have an extension installed and you remove the extension, still that JavaScript file is referenced in the build.js. And because of this reference, the build will now fail. So you either need to create a new build.js file, or you need to remove that one line. If you add a JavaScript library, same thing, it's not in the build file yet, so you'll end up having to either add it manually there or to create a new build file. So, 45 minutes, any questions?